Rachel.
And I'm Joe.
And we are
Two Crazy Ketos.
So this is the second installment of our Getting Started on Keto.
Welcome to part 2 of how to get started on keto. You may have watched the first one where we pretty much kind of talked about in the first couple weeks, just worry about carbohydrates. Don't worry about calories. Don't worry about, am I eating too much? Just get yourself fat adapted. Well, this is the second part, what you would do after you've done 2 weeks. Now, you don't have to do it this way. This is just what we have found that works for people who we have kind of helped along the process.
And we're not doctors.
We're definitely not doctors. So, but I would actually probably start off, and I know we mentioned in the first one, with do your investigation.
Yes.
Like, if you're getting started on keto, go out and investigate, because I would say the number one step to doing keto is make the commitment. Don't waver in your commitment.
This is good that it's at like the 2 week mark, because I think this is where like you experience some initial water loss. Is basically the weight you lose in that first 2 weeks, no matter what diet you're on, is usually water related.
But it's really going to affect you on keto. You're just going to dump water.
Right. But then at the 2 week mark, you've lost 10 pounds and you're like, okay, I'm feeling pretty good in the outfit that I'm wearing. And so this is where you quit.
Yes.
This is where
I think it's funny. I was at the grocery store the other day and it was like, lose 18 pounds in 2 weeks on keto. And I'm like, it's all water weight. So like, yeah, definitely like once you've lost, if you're trying to just lose pounds, don't quit after 2 weeks.
No,
because you've lost water weight. The second you go back to eating carbs, I would definitely say like you need to look at being keto, doing keto as a lifestyle change and not a temporary diet.
Yeah.
So, and you will find that you feel really good, that you're not going to ever want to go back to. You may be thinking right now like, oh my gosh, I can never eat sugar again. That goes away.
It does.
It goes away.
Give it some time, but it may take longer than 2 weeks.
Yeah.
So if you're still like, hey, okay, I've lost 10 pounds, good enough, and I've been on this for 2 weeks, but I still miss my carbs. This is that pivotal time.
It took me about
where you might quit.
6 months. It took me about 6 months to be like, I have no desire for that stuff. Actually, probably closer to like 8 months, because around the 7 month mark is where I did. It was Christmas time. I tried something because I was like, I kind of want it. And I was like, yeah, I don't feel good on this. So I had to kind of go through that. So I would say first step in this, we probably should have mentioned in the last one, is throw out your scale. Throw it out.
Bathroom scale needs to go because you are going to experience more like inches loss than you're going to experience weight loss. Like recently, I just re-measured and weighed myself. And in the last like 2 or 3 months, I have not lost 1 pound, but I've lost 4 inches in my stomach. That's
incredible. So yeah, I would say you should probably, if you're watching this right after watching the other one, the day you get started, measure everything. Get somebody to measure. You go buy a measuring tape, measure. Yeah. And take pictures.
Yeah,
I wish I had pictures along the way.
Yes, me too.
So I have a starting picture. I have a picture probably like 3/4 of the way through, but I wish I almost did monthly pictures.
Yeah, because you will need encouragement.
Because I know for me, I look at pictures of myself at the beginning and I'm like, I don't ever remember being that big.
No.
But if I was huge.
But if you weigh yourself every day, there is a really good chance you're going to get discouraged on this diet.
Which you shouldn't do on any diet. I mean, I know it's something that we suffer with, but yeah, you're going to get really discouraged when you go up and down, or if you all of a sudden like go 3 weeks or 2 weeks or 4 weeks or 2 months and you don't lose any weight, but you're going to notice your clothes are different. So just try to avoid the scale. I know it's hard, but try to avoid the scale.
If you want to measure your success, measure it in the fact that, it's been a long time since I've had a migraine headache. It's been a long time since I've gotten sick with a cold. It's a long time since, I've been able to fit in these jeans. Right. So measure it that way. Don't measure on the scale or you're going to be really frustrated.
So number 2.
Okay, so have an accountability partner. So,
what if you don't have anybody?
Well, there's the Instagram community.
Reddit, right?
Yep, is a really good way that you say, hey, no matter what, every single day I need to upload a picture of my food. I have to upload a picture of my, success moving forward, because if you don't...
Somebody to encourage you.
Yeah, you need that encouragement.
Especially with keto, because you're going to have, and I think our next video is going to be like what to expect. Like, things that you may encounter that you didn't expect. But you're going to encounter people who think what you're doing is weird.
Is crazy. And you need somebody that's sort of just on your side in this. Even doctors are sometimes like against you on
My
this.
personal opinion is if your doctor is against it, find a new doctor, because there are plenty of doctors who are out there who do encourage low carb, but that's just my opinion.
But you're going to have a lot of even your friends that want to go out with you, and they're a little frustrated because you can't just go to like, Olive Garden. Right. Like you did before, and they're going to ask you follow-up questions like, well, what are you eating? What are you supposed to do on keto? And you're going to take the time and energy to explain it, and they're going to be like, I could never do that, or that's so unhealthy, or you don't understand, I'm on heart medicine or diabetics medicine, I can't do that. Like, and then you're just going to feel low about being on it. So you need to have somebody that can encourage me.
Yeah, and I would say along with that if you have a spouse, if you have, somebody that you live with who is not doing keto, don't force it on them.
No.
You need to worry about you right now. Don't worry about everybody else and trying to fix everybody else. I know that we would be like, oh my gosh, you have to do keto. Don't worry. Focus on you. Okay. And then what's going to happen is you're going to have such incredible results. They're going to follow suit. And I know that has happened in our lives.
Definitely.
Our lives, we made this decision. And actually, I made the decision and you didn't. You didn't want to live that way. And then you're like, okay, no. He's doing something. I want what he's got. And now because of us, a lot of other people have made the same decision. But if we would have kind of jammed it on the throat, it would have never worked. So, have an accountability partner and worry about you, not anybody else. Yeah. Other than people who are maybe already doing this where you can encourage them.
Yeah.
Because as much as you need encouragement, other people need it as well. So number 3 would be to establish your macros at this point. You may have looked at them like in the first 2 weeks to see what your goal was, but now I would say it's time that you really want to start following your macros.
Yes.
Okay, so get yourself a diet food app, something that you can log all your food, something that you can calculate your macros. We'll leave a couple down in the description. And number 1, log everything.
Yes.
Log everything, because that goes back to your last one with accountability.
Yes.
So if you log everything, you can start realizing, oh, I didn't realize how much I ate, or oh, I have a lot more to eat. So you really want to get yourself now worrying about calories, because the bottom line is keto is not a free-for-all. Okay, we've eliminated carbohydrates, but we still have to worry about calories. Whether you're losing weight or maintaining weight or even want to bulk up, it's still a calories in and calories out. It's just a different kind of calories. But you will find it is easier to cut your calories because the fat is going to satiate you. And you may have already found that in the first 2 weeks, right?
Yes.
And you may have found like, oh my gosh, I am not eating nearly as much. And I really thought I would want to eat more.
Right.
I was talking to somebody at church about that yesterday. And he was like, I'm so used to this giant breakfast. And now I look at my plate and I'm like, it's a quarter of the size. Mm-hmm. And he was like, but I'm full.
Right.
Whereas I would go to Denny's and get like the giant Grand Slam and that wouldn't fill me up. So it really becomes a mind game.
Yeah, and the accountability is not a bad thing.
Yeah.
So number 4 is meal prep. And this is so important in this time, like 2 weeks into the diet when you could just give up. Having some simple foods that you can just grab and go really make life a lot easier, don't you think?
Yeah, I wouldn't, you don't have to meal prep every single meal for the week, but I would say it kind of ties into having your food log and logging everything. Something that we did early on would be log ahead of time. And whether you're going to snack or you're going to eat dinner, like if you're going to snack, you can say like something you do is you actually take servings and have like little snack size bags of servings and go, this is my snack. Instead of having a bag of almonds, you have a serving of almonds.
Yeah, and then I'm not gauging that sermon. So then I'm not gauging that portion on how hungry I am in that moment. I have my predetermined snack size available to me.
Right. And I remember what you used to do is we would actually log what you were going to eat for the entire day, the day before.
Yes.
So you knew when that was gone, I'm done for the day.
Yeah.
And you could take it out. But definitely meal prepping that way, having some foods ready to go. Like we always try to have hard-boiled eggs.
Yes.
We always try to have a couple of quick and easy things that you can cook super quick where you don't necessarily have to defrost it. Like we'll have like the hamburgers like we talked about. Canned chicken, like just canned chicken in water.
Yeah.
Things that you can cook super quick. And we always try to have at least one thing pre-made so that if we're in a bind, we can grab it out of the fridge.
Yeah. And that brings us to our next point, number 5.
5.
Which is stick to whole foods.
As much as possible.
Yeah. I mean, there's a lot of snacks and we, review Keto Crate and things like that, but you want some whole snacks with very few ingredients in it. Things like eggs.
If there's a nutrition label, try to avoid it.
Yeah.
As much as possible. For your main, not like you're buying mayonnaise, something like that.
No.
But as far as what you're eating, try to avoid going out to eat, buying processed foods, things like that.
Yeah, because you don't know, especially when you go out to eat, what all is in the food or in their preparation.
And I would say along with that, when you do buy something that's processed, whether it be mayonnaise or a ketchup, don't just trust the nutrition label.
No.
Like, look at the ingredients, because we have found, and other people have found, they're wrong, or they're worse than that, completely being misleading or lying.
Right.
Like, for example, like we just saw a beef stick, right, where it said no sugar, and then one of the ingredients was sugar. So think about it. When you look at your nutrition label, like I know we have seen like even keto snacks where it said like 2 net carbs, and you start thinking like that's just not possible because I know the raw ingredient has more than 2 carbs.
Exactly. So look at the ingredients and just be, conscious of the fact that companies that provide products for you are not part of your family. They're there to make money. So you can't just take for granted that they have your best interests at heart.
Yeah.
Sad but true.
So number 6, right?
Yes.
6? I would say eat when you're hungry and not when it's time to eat.
Yeah, if you have things that are meal prepped and you have a little bit of a plan for the day, then you can wait a little bit longer in between meals to eat. So if you're like, I eat lunch at 2 o'clock, and at 2 o'clock you're like, I'm not even remotely hungry, that's okay. You can push it back to 3.
Yeah. So listen to your body is really where you're getting at, right?
Yeah.
So listen to your body, eat when you're hungry. We try to switch up the times we're going to eat so that I think a lot of times, again, we talked about it in our fasting video, hunger is a mental game.
It really is.
And so what ends up happening is we get into like a routine. Like I eat breakfast at 7, I eat lunch at noon, I eat a snack at 3, I eat dinner at 5. And that's really, now you have to kind of combat that. You're not going to be hungry as much because you're eating fat and the fat is filling you up.
Yeah.
And so if you're not hungry, don't eat. And if you are hungry, eat. And at some point you may want to get yourself into intermittent fasting. That's like for another video. There's plenty of videos out there about intermittent fasting, about delaying it. But I'm a person, I don't necessarily believe in like you don't eat after 6 o'clock.
No.
Especially because we don't usually eat our first meal the next day until 1, 2, 3, even sometimes 4 o'clock. So if I'm getting home and it's 10 o'clock at night and I haven't eaten, I eat.
Yeah. So that brings us to number 7, which is stay hydrated. Hydration is a big part of the keto lifestyle.
Yep. And that ties into the last one, right? Listen to your body.
Yes.
I know for myself, I will start getting like a little cramp in my calf muscle or something like that. I know that means I need some more potassium.
Yes, and that means add some salt.
Yeah.
Yeah, you need lots of salt, Himalayan, the pink Himalayan salt. You don't want the table salt that we grew up with.
Mineral salt.
Mineral salt, exactly. And stay hydrated.
Yeah. And something a little extra to add in also, I would say when you are keeping your carbs under 20, that you really, I know we've said it before, but try to get those carbohydrates from your vegetables.
Yes.
From things like that. Like, don't go like, well, I'm allowed 20 carbs. That means I can have 3 teaspoons of sugar.
Exactly. Or I'm going to get that all from snacks that are like nuts and, or heavily processed foods.
You really do need to eat vegetables because the vegetables, especially when you're eating things like spinach and kale and avocado and that kind of stuff, that's where you're going to get your potassium so that you don't have problems with dehydration.
Yes.
So you need to make sure you eat your vegetables. So try to get most of your carbs. We're not saying don't eat anything like a nut or something like that that has carbohydrates in it.
Right,
but most of your 20 should
yes.
be coming from vegetables, things like that. Like when we add spices to our food, that's where we account from it. And then if we have any extra, that's where would be maybe like a snack kind of thing, like eating the Nexella, Nutella, whatever it's called. You know, like little ice cream topping or something like that.
Right. But
you know,
that
piece
should be
of chocolate.
Special. Yeah.
That's like if we have enough at the end of the day. Exactly. Not like I'm gonna eat 20 grams of chocolate carbohydrates and then I don't get any vegetables.
Yeah, you don't want to plan for like all of your desserts, and if there's any room left, then I'll have a vegetable. It should be the opposite.
It really should be the opposite.
Yeah. All right, and the last thing that we wanted to kind of say in this video is don't plan to cheat. Don't plan a cheat day. Like think of this as it's a lifestyle. It's a marriage. Can a marriage survive cheating? Maybe, but it's never going to be quite the same.
Right. And I know for me, this was the first diet that I never cheated on. And the reason I didn't cheat was, number one, I didn't want to go through the keto flu again.
No.
I mean, that was like, for me, it was a miserable experience. And number two, I felt so good. I didn't want to experience that lag, which I did when I came Christmas. And that wasn't even to me a cheat, because at that point I had achieved my weight and I was considering like going back to limited carbohydrates.
This is a good opportunity to switch out reward systems in your life. If you have been diligent on the keto diet, then my suggestion is treat yourself to a new shirt. Treat yourself to an outing to the movies. Treat yourself to something else that is not involving food.
For us,
yes,
a cheat day, and I'm not saying you shouldn't have a cheat day, because we like to have cheat days, but for us, a cheat day is a high calorie day.
Yes.
It's not a high carb day.
No.
We don't ever do high carb days. It's a high calorie day, or it will be a high protein day.
There you go.
Like one of your rewards, you're like, hey, I've had a great week. I want to celebrate.
Wings.
You want chicken wings, which is a little bit higher in protein and not as much fat, but then we'll add some fat with like some blue cheese and that kind of stuff. But that day we may go over our calories, but we haven't gone over our carbohydrates.
Yeah, so don't let your mind
Change
sink
your cheat.
you.
Change your cheat.
Yeah, exactly. So, well, that's our video for today. If you like it, please hit the like button down below and also hit the bell so that every time we upload a new video, you will be alerted to
and don't forget to subscribe to our channel. If you have gotten started on keto, let us know down below like what kind of success you've had. If you have any questions, I think we're going to do one more video on this, which will kind of be like, you know, things that you may not have expected, you know, problems that you may encounter, stuff like that.
I like it.
So, till next time.
Bye.